November 9th, 2022, 3:47 p.m. Moscow, Russia. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu appears on state television, announces withdrawal from Kherson, only regional capital captured during invasion, occupied since March 2nd, 8 months, now being abandoned. General Sergei Surovikin explains decision, logistics unsustainable, Antonovsky Bridge destroyed by HIMARS, supply lines cut, forces west of Dnieper isolated, withdrawing to preserve lives. This announcement is unprecedented. Russian military publicly admitting strategic defeat, abandoning major city, captured at cost, held for months, now surrendering without battle for city itself. Western analysts are stunned. Ukrainian command is cautious, believes might be Russian forces withdrawing, or preparing defense, or luring Ukrainian forces into ambush. Uncertainty dominates. One thing is clear, Russia is abandoning only regional capital captured. This is admission of strategic failure. Question is whether withdrawal is genuine, whether Ukrainian victory is real, or whether this is Russian deception. Next 48 hours will reveal truth. The withdrawal begins. November 9th evening, Russian forces start crossing Dnieper, using pontoon bridges, ferries, any method available. Antonovsky Bridge destroyed months ago. Alternative crossings are slow, vulnerable. Ukrainian artillery can reach, could inflict massive casualties during retreat, doesn't fire heavily initially. Ukrainian command uncertain. Is this real withdrawal or trap? Forces advance cautiously, probing Russian positions, finding them abandoned, building by building, street by street. Russian forces are leaving, actually leaving. This isn't deception, is real withdrawal. Strategic defeat being executed. By November 11th, most Russian forces crossed Dnieper. Rear guard remains, covering retreat. Ukrainian forces enter Kherson suburbs, cautiously, expecting traps, mines, ambushes. Find mines everywhere, but resistance is minimal. Russian forces have withdrawn. November 11th afternoon, Ukrainian forces enter central Kherson. Civilians celebrate. Ukrainian flag raised. City liberated. Russia abandoned Kherson. Actually abandoned. Strategic defeat is complete. Confirmed. Irreversible. At 11:47 a.m. November 11th, 2 days after announcement, Ukrainian forces control Kherson completely. Russian withdrawal finished. All forces east of Dnieper. Bridges destroyed behind them. Kherson liberated. Population 280,000. Only regional capital Russia captured. Now lost. This is strategic defeat. Unprecedented. Russia publicly announced withdrawal. Executed professionally. Reserved forces mostly. But surrendered major city. Surrendered political victory. Surrendered only captured regional capital. Cost is enormous. Strategically. Psychologically. Symbolically. Kherson was proof invasion succeeded somewhere. Proof Russia could hold captured territory. Proof Ukrainian resistance would fail eventually. All proved false. Kherson abandoned. Territory surrendered. Ukrainian resistance succeeded. This is turning point. Russia's invasion reached maximum territorial extent, now contracting. Kherson withdrawal proves this. Strategic defeat admitted publicly. This changes war, changes perceptions, changes momentum. Everything shifts from this moment. Russia retreating, Ukraine advancing, war's trajectory reversed. From Kherson withdrawal, from strategic defeat, from admission Russia can't hold what it captured. This is MilFront, and what happened at Kherson wasn't tactical retreat to better positions, was strategic defeat through logistics collapse and Ukrainian pressure, where HIMARS strikes on Antonovsky Bridge made Russian position west of Dnieper unsustainable, where 20,000 Russian troops faced encirclement if stayed, where withdrawal preserved forces
surrendered only captured regional capital. Where Russian command chose retreat over catastrophe, but couldn't hide what this meant. Strategic defeat. First major city returned. Momentum reversed. The question isn't whether Kherson was lost. Obviously was. Question is why Russian military couldn't sustain position in only captured regional capital. What made logistics impossible despite 8 months' occupation? And what Kherson withdrawal reveals about Russian military's fundamental inability to hold territory when Ukraine contests supply lines systematically. Official Russian statements, framed as tactical decision.
Preserving lives of servicemen. Establishing defense on East Bank. Regrouping forces. Never said defeat. Never said retreat. Said repositioning. Redeployment. Optimization. Euphemisms masking reality. Strategic defeat being admitted through word choices that avoid saying defeat. Shoigu and Surovikin on television. Explaining necessity. Logistics impossible. Position untenable. Must withdraw. This honesty itself reveals scale of defeat. When must publicly announce abandoning major city, defeat is undeniable. Russian statements tried softening. Failed. World saw truth. Kherson abandoned. Strategic defeat admitted. Ukrainian statements. Cautious initially. Verifying reports. Advancing carefully, then triumphant. Kherson liberated. Ukrainian flag flying. Victory for defenders. Accurate. Earned. Complete. Ukrainian forces liberated only regional capital Russia held. This was major victory. Strategic. Psychological. Symbolic. Statements reflected this. Celebrated appropriately. Kherson liberation was Ukrainian success. Russian defeat. Both undeniable. Statements acknowledged reality. Celebrated victory. Warned against overconfidence. War continues. But Kherson returned. That's victory. Stay with me. Because the detail that explains Kherson withdrawal, why it became necessary, is going to show you that modern warfare depends on logistics, and logistics depend on bridges. Antonovsky Bridge crossed Dnieper. Russian supply lines required it. HIMARS strikes degraded bridge from July through October. Made unusable eventually. Russian forces tried pontoons. Ferries. Inadequate. Couldn't sustain 20,000 troops indefinitely. Ukrainian forces didn't need to assault Kherson. Just needed to cut supplies. Let logistics force withdrawal. HIMARS enabled this. Precision strikes. Systematic bridge degradation. Supply lines severed. Position became untenable. Russian command faced choice. Lose forces through encirclement and starvation, or withdraw preserving force but surrendering city. Chose withdrawal. Rational militarily. Catastrophic strategically. Kherson withdrawal was forced by Ukrainian systematic targeting of logistics. Russian military couldn't overcome this. Position became impossible. Withdrawal became necessary. Strategic defeat became inevitable. All from targeting one bridge. Systematically. Effectively. Decisively. Let's establish what Kherson withdrawal actually was. Why happened. What meant. Kherson strategic importance. Regional capital. Population 280,000. Controls Dnieper river crossing. Gateway to Crimea. Russian forces captured March 2nd. First major city taken. Only regional capital captured entire war. Holding Kherson proved invasion could succeed. Proved Russia could control Ukrainian cities. Proved Ukrainian resistance wasn't enough everywhere. Kherson was strategic victory. Political victory. Symbolic victory. Losing Kherson reversed political humiliation. Symbolic failure. This is why withdrawal mattered enormously. Russian position west of Dnieper. Approximately 20,000 troops. Defending Kherson and surrounding area. Supplied across Dnieper. Single major bridge. Antonovsky Bridge. Plus pontoons and ferries. Ukrainian HIMARS campaign began July. Striking bridge repeatedly. Degrading structure. Making unreliable. By October, Bridge unusable for heavy vehicles. Pontoons vulnerable. Ferries inadequate. Supply situation critical. Russian forces rationing. Ammunition limited. Fuel restricted. Food scarce. Medical supplies insufficient. Position becoming untenable. Ukrainian forces pressing. Not major assault. Steady pressure. Probing attacks. Artillery strikes. Making position costlier daily. Russian command calculating. Can position be sustained? For how long? At what cost? Answer, no. Not indefinitely. Cost too high. Decision, withdraw. Withdrawal execution. November 9th announcement. Begins immediately. Using all available crossings. Pontoons. Ferries. Raft. Slow process. Vulnerable. Ukrainian forces could attack. Could inflict catastrophic casualties. Doesn't attack heavily. Why? Several reasons. Humanitarian concern. Civilian population. Infrastructure preservation. Risk assessment. Attacking massive withdrawal is complex. Could cause Russian forces to fight desperately. Could create humanitarian disaster. Could destroy city further. Ukrainian command chooses different approach. Allow withdrawal mostly. Strike selected targets. Advance cautiously. Probe for traps. Clear mines. Systematic liberation. By November 11th, withdrawal complete. Kherson liberated. Russian forces across Dnieper. Bridges destroyed. Withdrawal succeeded militarily. Failed strategically. City surrendered. Victory lost. Defeat admitted. Ukrainian HIMARS campaign effectiveness. From July through October, systematic strikes on Antonovsky Bridge, and pontoon crossings, and ammunition depots, and command posts, everything sustaining Russian position. HIMARS precision and range allowed this. Russian counter-battery inadequate. Couldn't suppress HIMARS. Couldn't defend bridges adequately. Couldn't maintain supply lines. Systematic campaign worked. Degraded bridge. Severed supplies. Made position untenable. Forced withdrawal. HIMARS proved decisive. Not through destroying army directly. Through destroying logistics supporting army. Made position impossible. Forced retreat. This is modern warfare. Strike logistics. Force withdrawal. Ukrainian forces proved this works. Kherson withdrawal was result. Strategic and symbolic implications. Kherson was only regional capital captured. Symbol of invasion success. Evidence Russia could hold Ukrainian territory. Proof conquest was possible. Withdrawal reversed everything. Proved Russia couldn't hold territory against Ukrainian pressure. Proved HIMARS could force strategic retreats. Proved Ukrainian military could liberate territory. Proved invasion failed achieving objectives. Kherson withdrawal was psychological turning point. Russia retreating. Ukraine advancing. Momentum reversed. Perceptions changed. Russian military shown as unable to defend captured cities. Ukrainian military shown as capable of liberation. International support for Ukraine strengthened. Confidence in Russia's military weakened. All from Kherson withdrawal. Strategic defeat admitted publicly. Couldn't be hidden. Couldn't be spun. City abandoned. Capital lost. Defeat visible. 3 questions from the beginning. Time to answer them. Why couldn't Russian military sustain position in only captured regional capital? Logistics failure. Antonovsky Bridge destroyed by HIMARS. Alternative crossings inadequate. Couldn't supply 20,000 troops indefinitely across river under Ukrainian fire. Position became untenable. Not immediately. Gradually. Over months. HIMARS strikes accumulated. Supply situation deteriorated. Finally became impossible. Russian military couldn't solve this. Couldn't rebuild bridge under fire. Couldn't establish adequate alternative crossings. Couldn't defend supply lines. Logistics failed. Position collapsed. Withdrawal became necessary. This reveals Russian military's logistical limitations. Can't sustain forces across major rivers against competent enemy with precision weapons.
Kherson proved this. What made logistics impossible despite 8 months' occupation? Ukrainian HIMARS campaign. Systematic bridge targeting.
Destroyed Antonovsky Bridge. Prevented reconstruction. Struck pontoons. Struck ferries. Struck supply convoys. Made every crossing dangerous. Made every supply delivery costly. Accumulated effect was decisive. Initially, bridge damaged, but functional. Then, bridge unusable for heavy vehicles. Finally, bridge completely destroyed. No alternative adequate. Position dependent on bridge. Bridge destroyed by HIMARS. Therefore, position became untenable. 8 months wasn't enough. Logistics failure happened gradually. Then suddenly, withdrawal became necessary. Russian military couldn't prevent this. What does withdrawal reveal about inability to hold territory when supply lines contested? That the Russian military's logistics are vulnerable to precision weapons. That major rivers are decisive obstacles when bridges denied. That Ukrainian forces can force retreats through systematic logistics targeting. That holding territory requires sustainable supply lines. Russian military couldn't sustain in Kherson. Ukrainian HIMARS made impossible. This pattern could repeat elsewhere. Any Russian position depending on vulnerable supply lines can be forced into withdrawal. Kherson proved this. Russian military can't defend logistics against Ukrainian precision strikes adequately. This is strategic weakness. Exploitable. Decisive. Changes calculations everywhere. Kherson withdrawal was evidence. Lesson. Warning. Russian military can't hold territory if you... Kherson proved this conclusively. The lesson from Kherson withdrawal is logistics determines who holds territory. Russian military captured Kherson. Held 8 months. Lost because couldn't sustain logistics. Ukrainian HIMARS destroyed critical bridge. Made resupply impossible. Position collapsed. Forces withdrew. City liberated. All because logistics failed. Not because Ukrainian forces assaulted successfully. Because Ukrainian forces targeted logistics successfully. This is modern warfare lesson. Don't necessarily need to destroy enemy army. Just need to destroy enemy's ability to supply army. Army withdraws. Territory is recovered. Kherson proves this. HIMARS struck bridge. Bridge collapsed. Supplies stopped. Position became untenable. Forces withdrew. City liberated. All from targeting logistics. Systematically. Effectively. Decisively. Russian military couldn't counter. Ukrainian approach worked. Kherson returned. Strategic defeat inflicted. Through logistics warfare. This lesson matters beyond Ukraine. Applies globally. Modern precision weapons make logistics vulnerable. Vulnerable logistics make positions untenable. Untenable positions force withdrawals. Kherson taught this. Through Russian defeat, through Ukrainian victory, through 8 months of occupation ending in retreat. This is MilFront. We analyze battles that define wars. Kherson withdrawal defined Russia-Ukraine. War's turning point. Russian military admitted strategic defeat. Publicly. Unavoidably. Kherson was symbol of invasion success. Symbol surrendered. Russian forces withdrew professionally. Preserved forces mostly. But lost city. Lost victory. Lost momentum. Everything reversed from this moment. Russia retreating. Ukraine advancing. War's trajectory changed. From Kherson withdrawal. Ukrainian forces didn't win through assaulting city. Won through destroying logistics, supporting city. HIMARS struck bridge. Bridge collapsed. Supplies failed. Position became impossible. Withdrawal became necessary. This is modern warfare. Logistics matter more than combat sometimes. Ukrainian forces proved this. Kherson withdrawal was result. Strategic defeat for Russia. Strategic victory for Ukraine. Momentum shift. Psychological turning point. Everything changed from November 11th, 2022, when Ukrainian forces entered Kherson, when Russian forces had withdrawn.
when only captured regional capital was abandoned, when strategic defeat was admitted. Kherson teaches this permanently. Modern wars depend on logistics. Destroy logistics. Force retreat. Liberate territory. Ukrainian forces proved method works. Russian forces proved vulnerability is real. Kherson returned. Victory earned. Through systematic logistics targeting. Not through costly assault. Through patient degradation. Through HIMARS precision. Through strategic competence. Kherson withdrawal was Ukraine's smartest victory. Russia's most honest...
Because understanding modern warfare requires understanding Kherson withdrawal's significance. Russian military captured city, held 8 months, withdrew because logistics failed. Ukrainian HIMARS destroyed supply lines, made position impossible. Forces retreated, city liberated. This proves modern precision weapons can force strategic retreats, can liberate territory without costly assaults, through logistics targeting. Systematically, effectively, Russian military couldn't counter. Position collapsed. Withdrawal necessary. Strategic defeat admitted. This matters beyond Ukraine. Shows how modern militaries can defeat occupations, target logistics, sever supplies, force retreat. Kherson proved this works. Ukrainian forces executed brilliantly. Russian forces withdrew necessarily. City returned. Victory complete. Through logistics warfare. This is future. This is modern approach. This is how territory gets liberated. Kherson teaches this. Through Ukrainian success. Through Russian failure. Through 8 months ending in retreat. Through only captured regional capital being abandoned. Through strategic defeat being admitted. Kherson withdrawal matters. Should be studied. Will be studied. Shows clearly that logistics vulnerability is strategic vulnerability. Russian military couldn't sustain. Ukrainian forces exploited this. Kherson returned. Teaching permanently. November 9th announcement. November 11th completion. 2 days. 20,000 Russian troops withdrawing. 280,000 civilians liberated. Only regional capital captured. Now abandoned. Strategic defeat admitted. Publicly. Unavoidably. This changed everything. Russian military retreating. Ukrainian military advancing. Momentum reversed. Perceptions shifted. International confidence in Ukraine strengthened. Confidence in Russia weakened. All from Kherson withdrawal. From logistics failure. From HIMARS campaign. From bridge destruction. From position collapse. From necessary retreat. From strategic defeat. This is Kherson. This is turning point. This is moment war's trajectory changed. Russia stopped expanding. Started contracting. Ukraine stopped defending. Started liberating. Kherson withdrawal decided this. Made visible. Made permanent. Made clear. Russian military can't hold territory against Ukrainian pressure. Ukrainian military can liberate through logistics targeting. Kherson proved both. Strategic defeat. Strategic victory. Logistics warfare. Modern lesson. Permanent teaching. This is Kherson withdrawal. This is strategic defeat admitted. This is victory through logistics. This is MilFront analysis. This is modern warfare reality. Real battles. Real tactics. Real consequences. Stay informed.